TomoNews presents Frozen.
Paying tolls can be annoying, but risking your life just to avoid paying 50 cents is just plain stupid. A Chinese man drove straight onto the frozen yellow river in Ordos, Inner Mongolia, just so he could get out of paying the bridge toll. Sure, tolls suck, but what are you gonna do? Well, you could do what this Chinese guy did and avoid it altogether. Rather than fork over the 50 cents, he decided it would be better to drive straight out onto the frozen river. This genius was pretty cautious at first, but as his confidence grew, so did his speed. Onlookers did what onlookers do. They took out their phones to film it. It took Confucius on Ice about 10 minutes to cross the 1 kilometer wide body of frozen, clear, unpolluted water. Wonder what the guy did to celebrate. Remember, the next time you're in China, bridge tolls are optional. But if you're visiting during the summer, make sure your car can do this.
Not so fly now, greedy bug gets tongue stuck on frozen steak. Flies. Nature's little devils. Just when you think you've killed one, another 5 show up in its place. They get in your food, clothes, hair, kitchen, everywhere! So it's with delight we present this little pest who finally got some comeuppance. This wee bugger saw a juicy steak and thought he'd have himself a piece. In a scene straight from Dumb and Dumber, the fly hilariously gets his tongue stuck in the frozen meat. The video was captured by a New Zealand photographer who eventually decided to let the bug free. If it were up to us, he'd have been dead meat, just like a steak.
Netizens slam frozen fish feature at Japanese skating rink. A Fukuoka theme park thought it would be a good idea to put thousands of dead fish under the ice at their skating rink, and is now badly regretting that decision. Space World apparently thought the idea of gliding over a wide variety of sea creatures would be a unique draw for customers. So operators bought 5,000 dead fish and arranged them around the rink, along with blown-up photos of larger marine animals. When images of the theme park centerpiece got around, they were met with outrage after netizens thought the fish were frozen to death. Despite the clarification that live fish weren't used, most didn't see the appeal, calling the concept weird, cruel, and disgusting. The park was met with a barrage of criticism and calls to boycott the attraction. So much so that they decided to close it down on November 27th. Space World is now melting the rink and will reportedly hold a memorial service for the fish sometime next year. Rest in peace, fishies!
English CCTV cameras captured a woman walking while texting her boyfriend and not looking where she was going. A man who saw she was heading for danger yelled out, "Stop!" The woman noticed the man, but she was already heading down the ladder and kept walking until she fell down into the frozen canal. The man outstretched his arm to help her out of the canal. She spent an hour drying herself at a nearby pizza place.
Nevada cryochamber salon manager freezes to death in mysterious accident. There are an infinite number of ways to die, but not many are more horrible than the manner in which young Hawaiian native Chelsea Ake died last week. Ake, 24, froze to death in a bizarre accident involving a cryochamber at the Henderson, Nevada branch of Rejuvenus, where she was the manager. The exact circumstances of what caused her death are still a mystery. But what investigators do know is that Ake was alone after closing up the store for the night. They also know that she then got into the machine for some reason and did not turn it off. The recommended time inside a cryochamber, which is used to treat ailments including sore muscles and inflammation, is around 3 minutes. But somehow Ake ended up spending around 10 hours inside the machine, where the temperature can reach as low as minus 240 degrees Fahrenheit. One of her colleagues discovered her body inside the machine the next day. Whether Ake accidentally locked herself inside the machine or it malfunctioned in some way is unknown, although a police report stated Ake probably suffocated and listed operator error as the cause of death.
2 moose found frozen in ice after battle to the death. Two men in Inuktitut, Alaska were going for a walk near the Bering Sea earlier this week when they stumbled upon the most epic of sights. Two moose, antlers locked, bodies frozen in ice. How did they end up like this? Well, upon closer inspection of their carcasses, one of the men has a hunch. Bull moose are known for their head-to-head bouts, squaring off for the right to mate with a particular female. When they clash, it can get downright nasty, their pointed antlers cracking against each other until one either gives up or dies fighting. For these two titans, the match likely ended with one of them piercing the other's skull. Though he may have won the battle, the war itself was lost, as their antlers were so entangled, leaving the victor unable to dislodge and break free. The dead weight of his opponent, likely weighing in at 1,000+ pounds, may have dragged him down into the sea, a watery, icy grave for two. When the men discovered their remains, they later returned with the tools to cut them out, their heads to be sawed off, stuffed, and mounted on a wall. A pretty steep price to pay for getting some play.
Frozen raccoon for sale at LA supermarket. A grocery store in a Los Angeles suburb area has been making headlines after a video surfaced showing the store selling frozen raccoons. Christina Dow was shopping at Metro Supermarket in Temple City on Monday. That was where she saw something that made her jaw drop. Frozen whole raccoons with bloody fur packaged in plastic bags. They were selling for $9.99 a pound, with one particular raccoon going for $54.35. Dow filmed her shocking discovery with her cell phone. She also found alligator feet next to the raccoons. She quickly got out of the supermarket while still filming, making sure her video shows the name of the store. She then uploaded the video to social media and reported the shop to the Los Angeles County Health Department. A supermarket employee told CBS Los Angeles that raccoons, which don't exist in wild China, are considered a Chinese delicacy for certain dishes. But is it legal to sell raccoon meat in California? The answer is yes, as long as the origins of the meat are officially approved. The supermarket has since stopped selling raccoons until it gets approval.
Over 100 prize cows plunged through frozen lake and drowned. Around 100 cows wandered onto a frozen lake in South Dakota last Wednesday and tragically broke through the ice and drowned. The cattle, owned by Mike Carlo, were looking for shelter during a bad windstorm when they wandered too close to the White Clay Reservoir. That's when some of the younger prized heifers mistakenly made their way onto the ice that was just 6 inches thick. The enormous weight of their bodies was too much for the ice to take, and it quickly collapsed underneath them. Most of the cows fell through and drowned in the icy waters. Mike and his brother Pat discovered the tragic scene the next morning when they went to feed them. The brothers have been working on extracting the dead cows from the water, which has proved difficult. Apparently, most of the cows that went into the ice were prized 2-year-old bred heifers. The accident will set Mike Carlo back about $300,000.
Record low temperatures cause fatal pipe rupture in Colorado. A water pipe at a fracking site in Colorado burst this morning, killing the worker who was trying to thaw it and injuring 2 others.
It's still going to be under investigation for a while, but what I can tell you so far is it was a water line. It was a high-pressured water line that ruptured.
The fatal accident happened in Wells County at a hydraulic fracturing site owned by Anadarko Petroleum Corporation. Temperatures dropped as low as -8 degrees during the night, causing some pipes to freeze. Around 9:30 a.m., 3 workers went to thaw the high-pressure water main. That's when one of the pipes suddenly burst, and according to the spokeswoman, water shot out with enormous force.
That results in about 2,500 or 3,500 psi from this water line coming out.
To put that into perspective, a fire hose can only shoot water up to 400 pounds per square inch. That's about 1/8 of the pressure that came from this pipe. 2 workers, aged 28 and 48, were taken to nearby medical centers, and they're expected to survive. Police have not yet identified the man who was killed. The accident was reportedly the first of its kind in the area.
I asked almost everyone that's got a lengthy history here, and they cannot remember a fatality on an oil site.
4 fracking sites have been shut down while safety officials investigate.
Dog marooned in icy river, saved by firefighters. This is Cooper, a golden retriever poodle cross, and he's in a bit of trouble. Here he is, stuck on a tree in Boston's frigid Charles River, and he was done for until firefighters waded out to rescue him. His owners say he'd bolted during a Saturday walk along the riverbank. They posted up flyers around the neighborhood and, luckily, got the call on Sunday. Someone had spotted Cooper in his icy death trap. So Wellesley firefighters geared up and went to work.
Let's wrap that dog up in something.
Bring him right to me. Bring him right to me. I got his collar. You got him? Yep. Got him. I got him.
Chris.
It's okay, buddy.
Maybe Sully all the way out. Yeah. It's all right.
Okay, hang on.
Good thing it wasn't Group B's engine.
Cooper.
The unlucky mutt was reunited with his family and is probably going to be grounded until summer.
Drone footage shows vehicles sinking into Wisconsin Lake. Guess what? If you park on a frozen lake, there is a chance your car might actually sink. And that's exactly what happened in Wisconsin during the Winterfest celebrations. Drone footage shows the moment when several vehicles parked on frozen Lake Geneva started sinking due to a rise in temperature. The lucky owners of 5 vehicles managed to drive their cars out of the lake. 10 more vehicles, however, could not be rescued and were submerged in the water. Fortunately, no one was in the cars when they began to sink. As parking lots were scarce during the festival, it seems police gave drivers permission to park on the ice. One of the car's owners said people do not normally park on the lake. We're guessing this will be their last time doing that.
Drunk husband accused of attacking wife with tuna. Tuna is the most popular fish for sushi and sashimi lovers in Japan. But other than serving meals, have you wondered what other purposes tuna have? A retired Japanese man from the northwestern part of Japan's Miyagi Prefecture maintains a lukewarm relationship with his wife. The 71-year-old had a habit of drinking to unwind. One day, his wife caught him drinking at home when she came back from the market. The old drunk became upset with his spouse after she refused to go out and buy more alcohol for him. He then took out a frozen tuna, which was supposed to be their dinner, and hit his wife on the head, hard enough to draw blood. The 71-year-old was then shocked into sobriety and called the police. His wife was rushed to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The old man has been accused of assault, causing bodily harm.
Grandmother freezes to death in mortuary. 80-year-old grandmother Maria de Jesus Arroyo apparently froze to death in a hospital mortuary, and now her family are suing. In July 2010, Arroyo was a patient at White Memorial Medical Center in the Boyle Heights section of Los Angeles. Arroyo suffered a heart attack, and doctors declared her dead. Her body was placed inside a body bag and stored inside the hospital's morgue. But Arroyo hadn't died. Physical evidence indicates she awoke and struggled to escape. She turned herself over inside the body bag as she attempted to get free, but she froze to death. Morgue workers found her face down. Other signs of struggle included bruises to her face. The case is now in the Los Angeles County Superior Court for further proceedings.
China selling 40-year-old Cultural Revolution meat. In China, things get better with age. And for a society so focused on history, it's easy to understand the latest craze sweeping the country. It's not vintage clothes or cars. This time, it's vintage historical meats. Chinese authorities seized some 800 tons of smuggled frozen meat in Hunan province in an operation that is part of a month-long crackdown on the illegal trade. The confiscated meat included poultry and beef, supposedly worth 10 million yuan, or $1.6 million. Some of the packages were rotten, while others were found thawing in boiling hot shipping containers. But what the Chinese got really excited about was a batch of meat they found from the 1970s. Meat that was packed and stamped during the height of Mao's Cultural Revolution. The vintage meat was set to be distributed to restaurants, retailers, and supermarkets across China. CCP officials announced that the recovered Mao-era meat will be placed on display next to the slumbering leader in the Mao Mausoleum. Well, maybe not. Chinese officials claim to have seized more than 100,000 tons of smuggled frozen meat worth nearly $500 million in crackdowns across 14 provinces and detained 21 smuggling groups.